Yeah. Take it off.
It fell. I dropped. No, it's not. Oh, no, it really fell.
Alex! Alex!
It's just another ordinary day at Polo Reef, but as we've learned over the years, that's not always a good sign. They hear a commotion downstairs and it's about to completely change their day. Joe, John, and Yelson head down to the sub-basement to find one of the drainage pumps stopped working, so they immediately get to work trying to fix it. It seems like an easy fix, but after a few minutes they find they might have some bigger issues. Now one of the pipes has burst and begins flooding the sub-basement quickly. This area of Polo Reef houses a lot of equipment and electronics. They have to rush to try and contain the leak before it floods the engine room.
Hey guys, let me tell you a little bit about that sub-basement where we have this big burst and pipe issue. First of all, it is and was the most difficult part of the construction process in this house. At the bottom of the sumps is built at about 50 feet below grade. We needed exhaustive steel, reinforcements, permits, soil tests to see where the water table was. It actually took about 5 years to build and plumb. There are 4 systems down there. Basically our water holding system and distribution, the 900-gallon drop down and cube my office, the 2500, and the big system with tons of French drains running on the floor and big humidification and all the engines and sumps running down there to keep the noise, electrical, etc. down in the sub-basement. It is effectively the Titanic coal stuff that you see in the movies. And we'll see what Jonathan and Joe have to say about this and what the reason to the clog is. In fact, that reason has changed a lot of things in this house since then. Take it away, Jonathan and Joe.
The plan to fix the pipe is fairly simple. Joe will cut the burst section of pipe that is broken and replace it with a new piece. Easy enough, right? Well, not exactly. As he cuts the pipe, he makes another discovery. The water coming out of the pipe is supposed to be clean, and it's not. That means that the pipe must have a burst from the pressure of a clog in the line somewhere.
Like the pump.
You like the pump?
Yeah.
Joe races to identify which pipe has the clog. The first one is clear, so it must be the other half that's the issue.
Take it off.
The team decides to use a high-pressure hose to try and clear the clog. After a few minutes, they realize it's not going to work. So in true Polo team fashion, they quickly pivot and formulate another plan. They decide to do what any plumber would do and use a snake to clear the blockage. The snake works, and now the team can rebuild the plumbing.
Well, wake up, we're on. So as you guys saw, we had a problem with the drainage ejector pump that goes out to the septic system for our wastewater from the basement. Replaced the pump because it wasn't working properly. We realized that the pump wasn't the issue and that there was a clog in the pipe.
So as you could see, we started cutting the pipe in sections to see if it's close to the pump, it's farther away. After cutting 2 sections, we realized that it was way up.
Buried in the wall, basically, where we couldn't get
to. You know, it was like cement.
While cutting the pipe, we saw a lot of brown gunk coming out, which is the GFO, the granular ferric oxide that we use for phosphate removal in the 17K and the other tanks. Assumption that it was getting stuck around another blockage and just creating a wall of sealant in there.
As you could see later on, that's why we're building these filters with extra socks, because if it's that bad in the pipe, you can imagine where else it is escaping.
And we've seen it build up in the cups of the skimmers and around the edges of the sump. We've seen it, and Andrew was concerned about how it was affecting the livestock, so we had built a small scale one for the clam tank to see if we could alleviate some of the GFO that might be getting into that tank. And then after Joe had done that, you know, we thought it would be best to try to catch it right out of the reactor. So we built this makeshift GFO capture device with some filter socks.
Which have been working amazing, because I looked at it this morning actually, where we have 3 socks in the big drum, 2 inside the drum, 1 outside draining out of the drum, and it is really catching it. Like what's coming out is the bottom sock is still perfect.
And the skimmers have been much clearer the last week or so.
We are still improvising that we have something coming up to be better than what we built already. So stay tuned and you will not be disappointed, I promise you.
Perfect.
Something like that, right?
Every day, basically.
We're building something every day. We're gonna be doing tile today, so.
Today on this episode of Polo House, we'll be doing tile work.
Stay tuned for future episodes where the Polo team gets innovative and builds a do-it-yourself GFO filter for the 17,000-gallon tank. You won't want to miss it. While they're down in the basement, they take the opportunity to check out the algae turf scrubber. It turns out it's working really well. They give it a quick clean and are ready for the next Polo Reef task of the day, which will take them back upstairs to the 17,000-gallon tank. Andrew and the team are working on arranging some corals to fill some space. They're also trying to locate coral that fell off the rockscape.
I don't even know where it fell down to. How's that?
No, it's, oh shit, now it really fell.
You see it? Oh yeah, I got it. I see it. It's right there.
Oh yes. Really what we have is that green one.
I put the green one up there.
Oh, that came out nice there. I don't know what we got.
Once they locate the coral, they head back into the lab to find replacement pieces in the quarantine tanks.
And we got this monster green one here too, which is on the leather.
We just took that out.
Yeah, I know.
With coral in hand, Michelle gets right to work in filling the empty space in and grabbing the coral that fell earlier. She's done this dive hundreds of times, and navigating the tank, it's a walk in the park for her.
That one can go there,
Yep.
and the other one go on the other one.
Yep. This piece came back, huh?
Yeah.
It's another routine dive for Michelle. She finishes up quickly and jumps out of the tank.
As you guys can see and know from previous videos, Michelle comes once a week and dives the tank and does numerous tasks, including blowing off the coral with pressure hose, which takes detritus and dirt off of the coral, and also helps if there are flatworms or parasites on that coral, blows them off into the water column where wrasses and butterflies eat them. And in other cases, things fall. There was this one chalice that just kept falling and falling, and the reason that is for whatever reason, we add new chalices and some coral sometimes, and the big non-reef safe fish, the angelfish and butterflies, they just have to taste it. And when they taste it, sometimes it comes off before the glue adheres. And she's got to re-glue, or sometimes just have to remove the piece. And we have no idea why they taste certain things and not others. Just one of those mysteries in the hobby.
In the lab, Dunn is working on one of the tanks that is currently experiencing an algae outbreak, amongst other things. The problem has become severe, so it's time for drastic measures. The problems they're facing, they might sound a little bit familiar.
Right now, we are dipping the corals, taking them out. There's a lot of bacteria and hair algae that's just gotten so out of control. So we're gonna bleach the rocks and then either do a new skate or put the rocks back in after they're done getting cleaned.
And just like that, the problem becomes even worse. Joe is close by to help Dunn from cracking the glass. It's amazing how quickly things can go from bad to worse in this hobby. Joe helps Dunn out and narrowly avoids disaster. They continue to pull the rock out one by one. And like everything else at Polo Reef, these are some massive rocks. Yelson joins in on the fun to help remove and bleach the rocks. After all, it's teamwork that makes the dream work. They start to prep the new rock for the tank. The beautiful rebuild is coming along nicely.
Guys, that 300-gallon system that is being reset in this video is what we call our backroom utility grow-out system. It uses this water, this 17,000-gallon water, which is monitored by labs every 2 weeks, dosed heavily with a lot of elements. And those are corals that grow in there that we don't want to put in this tank, or are smaller pieces that we wanted to grow out before they go in the big tank. So we call it a utility grow out system. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to have Dunn, who does a lot of our resets and rescapes, come join us and tell us why he actually thought that the hair algae problem actually happened and how he actually resets these tanks. Dunn, say hello to the camera.
Hello, hello.
Hello to the world. This is my best aquascaper resetting guy around. And Dunn, tell us what happened in a 300-gallon tank.
So in the 300-gallon, we had a hair algae outbreak. So sometimes our utility tanks that are hooked up to the mainstay become like a refugium in a way, where like all the nutrients just get sent there and it just blooms the algae. Unfortunately, we don't have like enough cleanup crew as well. And you know, sometimes the tanks don't like to graze on like long hair algae and different types of algae as well.
So there was a shortage, you think, of cleanup crew in there.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, we had a hair algae outbreak, and you set it with what exactly?
So we removed all the corals, we dipped them, inspected them. Then when we took out the aquascape, we completely bleached them for about a week. And then fortunately, we didn't have to like, you know, do like new live rock. We could just put the bleached rock back in and let it settle for a bit and then put the corals back in. And as of right now, we're aptasia and algae free.
Free of pests. And we used this opportunity to also, like he said, dip the coral, make sure there's no flatworms on those corals, make sure there's no pests. So it was a nice cleanup.
Yeah.
Good job.
Yeah.
Tank looks great, and stay tuned to see how that tank looks and develops in future episodes. So while we're talking about resetting tanks, why don't you all comment below? Have you ever needed to do a reset? Take the sand out, use new rock, and how do you do it? Comment below. I'd love to hear your opinions and thoughts.
Meanwhile, Alex the vet is getting ready to treat the corals in the 2,500-gallon tank.
Today we're going to be treating the 2,500 gallon with milmycin oxamine. About once a quarter, we prophylactically treat the tank. Yes, it does mess up the copepod populations, but we do add external copepods post-treatment. And we just want to make sure that there aren't any red bugs or any other acropora parasitism going on.
He spreads the medication in the tank by pushing it through one of the pumps to spread evenly. With the tank medicated, the busy day continues downstairs, where the team is getting ready to treat a few chromis that arrived today, and they're not looking too hot.
The chromises that came in today came in pretty bad shape. Some of them do have some mild ulcerative lesions, but mostly bruising around the scales and some actual scale damage, most likely due to transport shipping. They were scraped and microscopy was done. No bacterial infections were seen at this time. Although they did have ulcerative lesions, did not have any bacterial or protozoal organisms like Urinema present. They are going to be getting prophylactic antibiotic injections just because there are some open wounds. Chromises tend to be very, very fragile. I normally don't recommend prophylactic antibiotic usage, but in this case, there's enough open tissue damage that those wounds will become infected have they not had antibiotic injections.
Chromis are not as easy to keep as many people think, and the shape the fish arrived in today made Alex the vet want to act quickly. He'll have to be very delicate and precise, as these fish tend to be small and the margin for error is tiny. He'll need to inject each fish one by one and place them back in the quarantine.
So we finish the injections, the lesions on them start resolving in the next couple of days, and hopefully they don't get infected, and then they'll spend the rest of the time in quarantine until they go up to the 2,500.
Last episode, the Polo Reef team had a near impossible task of catching one of the masked angelfish that was showing signs of being sick. It took 2 days and required Max to go for a dive to net this rare and expensive fish. You can check out the video in the description below.
Okay,
The team is still waiting for the results of the labs on the masked angelfish. Alex the vet has one more injection to do. As he was treating the chromis, he asked Dunn and Yelson to catch the masked angel in quarantine so he can administer another injection for treatment. As they begin to try and catch the masked angel, it's deja vu. They quickly realize they need to be more creative to catch this fish. They decide to do the same thing they did on the 2,500 gallon tank. They'll set up a barricade to make the area they need to work in much smaller. This time, it didn't take 2 days. It only took a couple minutes. They're becoming professional masked angel wranglers.
Alex! 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 No!
Alex the vet heads over and gives the masked angel its treatment. They release the fish, but only for a short time, because next they want to move the masked angel to make treatment a little bit easier. Before they do, they'll need to disinfect the system it will head into.
So we're going to be using malachite green. It's an antifungal for the potential phakomycoses on the masked angel. Going through rounds of different injections, as well as antifungal treatments. Slowly we're seeing some improvement, but with fungal infections it can take a considerable amount of time.
So we moved the Personatus Angel into System 4-5 just to make it a little bit easier when we're giving it shots. We don't have to rip apart the entirety of System 1 when we're trying to get to it.
So guys, the Personatus masked angel is back into his quarantine home where he was there for at least 4 years. I hold this fish and this particular species and my other ones up in the 2,500 very dear to me. We've raised them since they were the size, maybe my thumbnail. When one is sick or one passes, I take it very personally. In this case, we moved it to a reef. Maybe it was the temperature change, maybe it wasn't. We keep the quarantine systems a little cooler. There are deeper water fish, if you remember from the last video. And frankly, Dr. Alex doesn't know exactly yet what species and what everything is going on, but we're treating this fish for 2 different things. We're liking what we're seeing, and things are moving in the right direction. Stay tuned for future videos where we actually get the full diagnosis back on what it was and how that fish is doing. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you like the content you're watching. It helps us gain viewership. Thank you.
Every day, things happen in life that force us to adapt. That adaptation is what makes us stronger. In this hobby, being flexible and looking at things with a solution-based mindset can make the difference between a successful or unsuccessful reef keeper. Andrew and the Polo Reef team are always flexible and have a can-do attitude with all situations. If there's one thing we can learn from this hobby, it's that no obstacle is too large to solve. The community is huge, and the solutions might be found from fellow reef keepers or right here on YouTube. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell to stay up to date on everything Polo Reef. Until next time.
So we're breaking down this tank today.
Wow, sick, right?
Yeah.
What's that?
Mystery tank. I don't know where this is going. I got no clue.
Oh my gosh.